They can do all of the things that we're hearing the stimulus money doing is to infuse the economy with some money so that then those people who get those jobs from those things can start spending and jumpstart consumption, right? So they can start putting money in. I'm going to go and, I don't know, redo the roads in New Jersey that desperately need redoing. But that means I have a job. That means I go home, I buy some food, I get a car. The car industry now can sell a car. Then the car industry might decide to go and build another factory, right? So there's a direct relationship between government spending and consumption and investment. And this is the one thing that, you know, the Tea Party folks and the Republicans and all of them are just saying, cut government spending, cut government spending. But the relationship between government spending and consumption and investment is not being made, right? Because if you're just not, you're having a free-for-all, you know, based on the financial crisis, we'll talk about that later, but this component of government spending is important, right? And so we're going to look a lot at sort of the historic trends in government spending, but just so that it's clear why we're looking at that, right? It's not just government spending is for the sake of government or that government's the only place. But the other thing about government spending is because so many of you are working on public sector employment, you know, in terms of labor and in terms of wages, there's another component of looking at this kind of government spending and what happens to government spending, right? So there's a many levels of ways in which we can look at it. Okay, two more terms and then I'm going to give it to James. Two terms. One is counter-cyclical spending. And that one I don't think is written anywhere, so if you want, you can write it down. So counter-cyclical spending and pro-cyclical spending. So one of the things we know about capitalism as an economy is that it goes through cycles, right? So it could go up and go down. Right now we're going down, right? And it's just sort of a wave, and you can look at it historically. And when James looks at the graphs, you'll see the waves that we've gone through. So right now we're going through a recession. And so what can government policy do? Government policy can either be counter-cyclical, which means that if it's going down, right, consumer spending and investment is going down, government policy could be counter-cyclical by increasing its spending to try and jumpstart it. Right? That's a counter-cyclical policy. If prices are going really high, a counter-cyclical monetary policy would be to increase interest rates to bring prices down. Right? So it's policies that counteract what the economy is doing so that it stabilizes the economy so that we're not going through these huge swings. Okay? And James will talk more about it. So that's a counter-cyclical policy. The stimulus money of the last year and a half has been a counter-cyclical policy, and actually even the Federal Reserve's low interest rates has been a counter-cyclical policy. A pro-cyclical policy is one that keeps with the cycle, right? And state funding and state cuts are pro-cyclical policy. So I'll come back to New Jersey. Here's the state. We have, anybody know what the unemployment rate is in New Jersey? It's not good.
So
It's about 9, right?
Yeah, about 9%. You know, yeah. And anyway, in whatever state you're in, we know that it's bad. So the state has high unemployment, and as you were speaking, when you have a recession, the demand for services goes up, right? Welfare rolls are going up. Food. I know someone who works with the elderly in New York City. There's been a 40% increase in the demand for lunches in the city. All these demands are going up. Many of them are happening at the state and local level. So what is the state and local policy? It's a pro-cyclical policy. When demand goes up, let's cut that. Right? When you need more housing, let's cut the funding for housing. When you need more education funding, let's cut education. Right? So what happens, going back to the C plus I plus G, consumption's going down, investment's going down, government spending is going down, who's going to be spending money? Right? That's a pro-cyclical policy. So those are the two, the counter-cyclical and pro-cyclical are the two terms that are used as to what governments are doing.
So would it be the same if everything was going up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's like what you think of a heated economy, like everything is going up, then the fear is that all price levels will go up. And then you want to kind of pull it back so that you don't have huge inflations.